Hi, Beggars Table. Welcome to our weekly check-in. I hope everyone is doing well and staying healthy. I wanted to share with you some thoughts I had when I was reading through the latest Crossroads Community Association newsletter, believe it or not. There's a phrase in there that we've all seen 100 times by now, but for some reason it really struck me, and it was Mayor Lucas declaring that we are living in a state of emergency. To me, that seems like a really powerful thing to say. We're living in a state of emergency. I find myself going, I don't exactly know what that means. I've never lived in a state of emergency before. I was just at the park, and the park is overflowing. There are people who are walking their dogs and playing catch, and everybody seems happy. The sun is out. Not only that, but I don't know about you. I, thank God, don't know anyone who has been infected yet with this virus. I don't know anyone who has tested positive for the coronavirus. Now, Carrie does. She has a work friend who I've never met that lives in Colorado who has suffered from this virus, but I don't know anyone, and I see people just enjoying themselves at parks, and I think a state of emergency, this isn't what I always expected a state of emergency to look like, at least so far. I thought, what's the closest that we've come to living in a state of emergency? The closest I could think of is 9/11, which wasn't the same thing at all. I remember a color-coded alert system that came out at 9/11 that was supposed to alert us to the level of terrorist threat for the day. You guys remember that? Quite frankly, it was a little silly. It was easy to make jokes of. This isn't the same thing, because even though I search for what it means to live in a state of emergency, it feels more real to me. And the reason it feels real is because my life has been disrupted, and your lives have been disrupted. And when we face that disruption, we find ourselves doing what I'm talking about right now, searching for meaning in that disruption. So I have some words that I wanted to share for you that maybe help us in this conversation. Let me bring you to the right slide. The word emergency, the state of emergency that we're living in, is closely connected to the word emerge. Emerge and emergency share the same root. The idea being that when we have emergencies, new things are called forth, new things emerge. And brand newness might never even come until we face a crisis, until there's some kind of emergency. So I was reading the words of Rebecca Solnit, who wrote this book called A Field Guide to Getting Lost. She's amazing, and this is a great book for you to read in this season, A Field Guide to Getting Lost. And one of the great quotes she said along these lines was this: "The old containers are crumbling fast, but danger and possibility are sisters." Now, I don't know about you, but I love that thought. Danger and possibility are sisters. And it struck me. We talk about this all the time at Beggars Table. We have to get thrust out of our old certainties, which feel so comfortable, for us to come awake to something that is new. And that's what happens in states of emergency. So it leads me to this question: what are the new things that are emerging from the state of emergency that we find ourselves in? It's a great question. I don't know what all the answers are, but you and your family are going to experience, and we are going together possibly construct some new things that emerge that we never even imagined before from this state of emergency, which is a hopeful message. It reminds me of Psalm 22 that we talked about last week in our Sunday conversation. The psalm that starts out in such despair. My God, why have you forsaken me? Yet ends in hope, in shalom, where even the poor are fed, and where whole families worship together, and even the dead and people who have been sent to the dust are now bowing down to God. What a wonderful, wonderful picture. Thrust out of certainty and becoming awake to something new in our midst. What is emerging from our emergency? Guys, I just simply want to say peace to you. Peace be with you this week as you engage this question and as you discover new things emerging. It will be a fun conversation for us to share together. Blessings.